Hello and welcome to Baseball Barbacast, the only baseball podcast in the world that knows the best MLB dynasty is not the 90s Yankees. It's the AL All-Star team whenever they take the field. I'm Jake Mintz, that's Jordan Shusterman.
Ooh.
These guys just don't lose.
Yeah. Last year, we were in Seattle, and we saw the National League pull off the impossible. The American League had won roughly 5 million years in a row, and Elias Diaz said, that ends tonight.
No
but
mas.
tonight here at Globe Life Field, where we sit after the 94th Midsummer Classic, I believe. If I was better prepared, I would know that for sure. Woo. As we sit here after the game, the American League made sure that even after falling down early, they would come back and reassert their dominance in this event. And they got it done. 5-3 the final score. The first half of this episode of Baseball Barbacast, we are going to talk about that All-Star game that we just witnessed. Then we will take a break. Then we will come back and talk about the Home Run Derby that we witnessed last night.
Which was mid.
But I'm happy to be here. Obviously, Jake, we are here on the field. We're recording a podcast on the field, which is always cool.
Yeah, this is very cool.
This is a nice setup.
First, I think, for us.
I think this is a first for us.
I'm very excited about this.
Yes.
Jordan, we have been making endless jokes recently about rooting for teams in the Home Run Derby. I think it is like the funniest
in an All-Star game.
In the All-Star
qualifier, Jake is tired. We're all tired. It's the end of a long week. We got here on Thursday. Jake will say some things. I'll probably say some things tonight that are just totally wrong. Right? He's going to mention some player that isn't even an All-Star.
I'm going to get someone's name wrong.
Yeah,
I'm going to call him like Ellie De La Puz.
Yes, all kinds of opportunities here. So let's just establish that before we get started. But anyway, your point, it's true. The notion of cheering for either the AL or the NL earnestly is very funny. And I don't know, do people feel that way? Was there a time in baseball history when people cared about this in a real way? Probably, because back in the day before we were doing this, there was actually differences between the leagues.
They had different umpires, different baseballs.
Yes, and I think from a fan perspective, there was some amount of logic in that you wanted to feel like your league was the better league, right? You wanted to feel like the teams that your favorite team was playing against were better.
Yeah.
It's kind of like in that, you sort of still have that with divisions, right? AL East fans will always be like, well, if our team was in your crappy division, we would be in first place. But just expanding it to the leagues in this current iteration of the All-Star game is very funny to us.
However, we will continue.
Yeah.
I live and die with the NL. I put NL All-Star team in my Twitter bio.
And you know what?
Duke, Lakers, AL All-Star team.
And you know what? For all the discourse about the jerseys, right?
Oh, they stink.
But everyone wants to go back to everyone wearing their own jerseys, which I agree with. However, right now, maybe they are catering to the people that want to buy a jersey that says National League.
Yeah.
And I guess it's working. I guess they're selling enough threads.
What we're going to do to talk about the All-Star game is go through 10 moments from the game itself. These games are often about the memories, the individual matchups, or the shots of a player laughing. Like, those are the things that will carry with us into the future. And I have a list of 10 things here in front of me, and I'm just going to roll right through them.
We're going to go chronological, not full box score, but 10 things from the 2024 All-Star game. Let us begin.
Number 1, the player intros.
Yeah.
Full freaking Texas. We had lassos, I think like 6 lassoers, just whipping that rope in circles.
You mean Cowboys?
Yeah, outside the dugout, and like the players would run up the dugout, and they're just kind of whipping that rope
and then
around.
they would hand a cowboy hat to
like a little
kid.
Yeah.
This has obviously been the whole week, right? We had the draft at the Cowtown Coliseum. They've been leaning into it. Leading up to the event, when you would have these either photoshopped or real photo shoots of players with no cowboy backgrounds in cowboy hats. But most of the players totally bought in. They were like, yes, this is what we are doing. Even Rob Manfred, who spoke earlier today, talked about how at the draft, he liked that there was a theme. And clearly that was something that they appreciated being able to lean into all week. And it's fine. I mean, obviously it was goofy at times. It was corny at times. But why not?
Make it campy. It's a fake game. It's an exhibition game. It doesn't matter. Just like
100%.
I appreciated that they really leaned in. And
it was good.
I'll say this as a Northerner who really has not interacted with cowboy hats a lot.
Yeah.
It's actually a really good way to figure out who has aura and who doesn't.
Yeah.
Because a cowboy hat either works on someone's head or it doesn't work on someone's head.
And all week there were just so many people trying to pull it off, and just immediately you're
like, that looks stupid.
Like, nope. Yeah. Nope. Yeah, that guy got it. So that was kind of the subplot, I would say, of All-Star Week. But anyway, let's get to the actual action. As you mentioned, the intros are always pretty fun. But let's get to the game. What's the first moment of the game you want to talk about?
My sheet says Paul Skenes.
Yep, Skenes. Yep.
Paul Skenes.
Paul
Ibanez. Paul Skenes, who started the All-Star game for the National League after a whole lot of hubbub. Incredibly exciting. He came out and faced Stephen Kwan, got him to fly out,
yep.
I believe.
Pop out. Stephen Kwan, as I expected, swung at the first pitch. He swung at all 4 pitches from Skenes. He pops out to short.
Gunnar Henderson,
yep.
Out. Thanks for coming.
Yep, quick little out there. And then here comes Juan Soto. And Juan Soto had promised that he would get on base so that we could see Skenes versus Judge. However, what people were forgetting is that it's actually even more fun to watch. Like, I was way more excited to watch Juan Soto versus Paul Skenes than Aaron Judge. And so I'm glad that Bruce Bochy gave us that.
But also, it added stakes to it in a fun way.
Sure.
Now, I think that ensuring that you got the Judge Skenes matchup was probably better. Yep. But to have the idea of everyone in the park being like, Soto has to work this walk because he was going to walk.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm going to work this walk in order to have Judge face Skenes, and it was great. Now, as is the case with any single inning, Skenes got a lot of soft contact, and Judge grounded out to third on the
first pitch. Yeah.
On the first pitch, and he didn't strike anybody out, which is kind of weird.
No.
But again, it was the moment we were all waiting for, and it definitely delivered.
Yeah, and he got some swing and misses there. He fooled Soto on a splinker. He blew 100 past Henderson. You had some moments there for sure. But if you were hoping that would be the lasting memory, I'm not sure that was ultimately to be the case. But that's because we had some other fun moments at this one.
Yeah, good news. Very soon after that, Shohei Ohtani cranked one to the freaking moon.
Yeah, Tanner Houck coming in relief. Tanner Houck has clearly established himself as a starter. Earlier in his career, bouncing between the bullpen and the rotation for Boston. Huge season for Tanner Houck. I'm a big fan of this guy. He hung a splitter to the wrong fellow.
2-0 count.
Not what we're looking for, and Shohei did the thing that he does, which is hit the ball over the fence.
Worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Yep.
The rest of the All-Star game, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, because there was certainly one other moment that will stand out. But having Ohtani do the thing here on this stage in front of all these people, like, MLB's got to be absolutely thrilled right now.
Yeah. I mean, again, like he could make people make a big deal. Oh, it's his first one on the National League team, which, Ohtani, he's probably thinking, especially after last year, he was used to winning with the AL. And now he's stuck on this NL team that, last year
can't get it together.
Last year, right, exactly. Last year he loses. Remember last year, come to Seattle. Not a lot of come to Texas chance because he's secured at this point for the long haul in Los Angeles. But anyway, Ohtani homers, awesome. I mean, again, we shouldn't take him for granted, but that was a very impressive swing.
Next moment that kind of stood out was a Juan Soto RBI single, which he ripped into right center field, and center fielder Teoscar Hernandez just kind of walked to the ball and leisurely tossed it in. Soto saw no opportunity.
Yeah.
Hustled to second, hustled double Juan Soto.
There you go. That cuts the lead to 1 for the National League. And then Aaron Judge gets out. So Aaron Judge doing nothing in this one. Aaron Judge can't rise to the moment. His clutch numbers continue to plummet.
Not a big game player.
However, you know who is a big game player?
David Fry.
David Fry. We went Soto, Judge, David Fry, pinch hit for Yordan Alvarez. David Fry, also from very close to here, a guy who in high school was not recruited by any school in the state of Texas, to the point where he has to go to Louisiana, Northwestern State. And now 10 years after he first stepped on campus at Northwestern State, here he is, age 28, MLB All-Star, one of the great stories of the season. And he rips the ball into left field to tie the game for the AL.
You know what I liked about that? He wasn't trying to do too much.
No. He swung pretty hard, and he did pull the ball. I feel like he was trying to do a lot.
I think David
and
Fry
it ended up being the right amount.
Well, I was going to say David Fry did the right amount. The next moment that we want to talk about. So this I think was my favorite. Logan Webb's on the mound. He's having a tough inning.
Yes.
He's allowed to hit to Fry. He's allowed to hit to Soto. It's a tie game now.
Yeah.
And Brent Strom, who is the pitching coach for the Arizona Diamondbacks, lumbers his way out of the dugout to talk to Webb, the pitcher for the Giants.
I assumed he was going to pull him.
And I assumed he was going to pull him because it's an all-star game, trying to get everybody innings. But instead, Strom goes out there and delivers just like an old-school, regular mound visit.
Right. Which I don't know if Logan Webb talked about this after the game. He was asked about it. Strom talked about this after the game. This just feels very unique. A genuine, let's go out there and calm my guy down.
It's legit if they knew each other, if they were the same team. I don't know how much Strom, the Diamondbacks pitching coach, has interacted with Webb, who's on the Giants. They're in the same division.
Sure.
But this guy's coming out there. I'm like, if you're gonna make the trip, just yank me. 31 pitches that inning.
Was it really?
When it was all said and done.
Oh man. Okay. Yeah. But this is the best part.
Yeah.
What happens next? Logan Webb locks back in, strikes out Jose Ramirez.
Yeah.
Brent Strom, greatest pitching coach of all time.
Give me some advice.
Then we move on to our next big moment, top of the fifth. And I was very much looking forward to watching Mason Miller pitch in this game.
Jordan, who's Mason Miller?
Mason Miller, the A's representative here, a closer who is pretty much the hardest thrower in baseball right now. But his rise from Division III Waynesburg University 6 years ago to Division I Gardner-Webb, third-round pick for the A's a couple years ago. He makes his debut last year. Oh, maybe he can start. And then this year, they were like, hold on a second. This could be very special if we just have him throw the ninth inning. And boy, has it been special. He stayed healthy. He's throwing not just 100, not just 101, not just 102, not just 103. This dude threw a ball 103.6, which registers as 104 miles an hour on the TV broadcast. He has also touched a genuine 104 miles an hour already this season. He made Ketel Marte, I guess, swung at the first pitch. Then he strikes out Ohtani. He strikes out Trey Turner, showing both the fastball and the slider. I don't really know why he came in the fifth. If this was Bruce Bochy trying to get that Miller-Ohtani matchup, hats off to him. But he is, we've seen him. They're great closers. Clase is great also, and he deserved to pitch in this game and close this game out too. Munoz, awesome, great closers. Mason Miller right now is the most overpowering pitcher in a single inning that we have. I really do believe that, and I'm glad that he got to show that, because I do think that while people like us have gotten to know him very well as a character in our universe, there were absolutely people in this ballpark tonight that were like, what in the world was that? And I think that's really exciting.
Jarren Duran, though, he wins All-Star Game MVP, and that's because he cranked a 2-run go-ahead shot in the bottom of the fifth. I'm going to be honest. I didn't see it. I was down in the tunnel.
Wow.
Waiting to talk to another player.
It. I was like, damn, Jarren Duran got juice.
We were right about Mason Miller.
Yeah. We have been talking about him for a while.
We were very wrong about Jarren Duran, who we did not think was a good player. He has proved us and a lot of doubters and haters wrong.
I definitely didn't think he was a great player.
I totally agree with you. He was not someone I ever thought was going to win All-Star Game MVP.
Right. I was like, there's a version of this where he can kind of carve out a role. He clearly did that last year. And then this year,
the bat.
I mean, every part of his offensive game, from the base running to the power to the extra base hits, the doubles, the triples, the homers, just sensational all-around outfielder. Center fielder, the defense has improved as well. What a find. Huge part of the Red Sox season. And for him to have that moment, too, was a reminder that, yeah, hey, dude, I'm here. I'm one of the best outfielders in baseball. And he's right. He's right. So credit to him. He gets the All-Star Game MVP. And that concluded the scoring for the evening.
And part of the reason that was it for the scoring is because Christopher Sanchez, Phillies left-hander, came in the game and got 2 pitches, 2 outs. Thank you for coming to work. Unbelievable.
That's a nice day at the office.
Yeah, you love to see that. I believe he faced Isaac Paredes of the Rays. got him to roll over to shortstop on a first pitch sinker down the middle of the plate.
Mm-hmm.
Then he faced Josh Naylor, threw him a sinker up and in. He grounded that to first base.
And then they pulled him.
Then they pulled him and brought someone else in for the last out. Christopher Sanchez,
yes,
added late to the roster. Unbelievable season for the Southpaw. Makes a trip all the way out to Texas, does all the festivities, goes to the pen.
How does that work?
Throws
like,
2 pitches.
Does that count as he played? I guess, right?
What do you mean, does it count as he played?
No, it counts as he played. I'm saying from a workload standpoint. Like, do we treat that as a different outing than Logan Webb throwing 31 pitches?
Yeah, he warmed up.
Workload,
yes, he warmed up. But, Jordan,
yes.
Last topic. There were a couple of guys who didn't get in the game. And this is something that I always find funny because of all the bells and whistles that go into this thing. I mean, we're here doing a podcast on the field. Like, this is a big deal. This is a big event.
Yeah.
To make the schlep and not get to pitch in the game when you are healthy, able,
and on the roster, on the active roster,
willing to pitch is always very odd.
And there's no way to know, right? It's not like the guys that are on the active roster. Of course, guys are on the inactive, and we know they're not going to pitch. But generally, same thing back to the Mason Miller thing. You don't know. Sometimes the managers will be like, yeah, he's pitching. Sometimes the players will know. Pitchers have told us in the past, like, yeah, I got the 6th. But it's very unpredictable. And so you sort of start to realize over the course of the game, like, ooh, I don't think that guy's going to get in. And we had a few examples of that. So who didn't get into tonight's game?
So the one guy who didn't get in, and it's a good thing he didn't get in, is Clay Holmes, Yankees closer, who was unbelievable in pinstripes for the first 2 months of the season and has been just horrid for about a month and a half.
Including 2 days ago.
Including literally 2 days ago on Sunday when he blew a save against the Orioles in Baltimore.
With some help.
With some help from his defense. And by help, we mean
whatever the opposite of that is. Yep.
The idea of Clay Holmes coming into this game and pitching and doing poorly would have been uncomfortable for everybody involved. As much as some masochistic Yankees fans maybe wanted to see that.
No. I think it seemed like he was probably not going to pitch. However, then you had an opposite situation. You have Andres Munoz. Andres Munoz, Mariners closer, obviously one of my favorites, a guy who was added late as a replacement, replacing his teammate Logan Gilbert, who pitched on Sunday, so he was not going to be able to be on the active roster. They were both here in Texas. Andres Munoz's family, his 2 brothers, drove hours and hours from their homes.
Do you know how many hours?
20 plus?
27 hours.
They drove from Mexico to be here, hoping to see Andres Munoz pitch at the end of the game.
Sorry, buddy.
Ultimately,
sorry, pal.
Ultimately, they were not able to do that as Class A is too good. And he did not choke away the 9th and give us extra innings for Andres Munoz to pitch. Listen, I know, having talked to the Mariners, Andres Munoz still had a great time.
Yeah.
I wish his family got to see him pitch, and he is a delight, but that was unfortunate.
He should just go throw a pen in the parking lot. You
I'd
guys drove all this way to see me pitch.
I would go watch that. Oh, my gosh.
I would honestly rather watch Andres Munoz throw 101 in a parking lot than in a baseball stadium. I've seen the latter many times.
That's true.
I've never seen triple digits in a parking lot. That's the All-Star game this year. I would say as a whole, solid All-Star game.
Yeah, I got to say, like, honestly, some All-Star games go by and there's really not a lot to talk about.
Shohei Ohtani homered.
But Ohtani homered, Mason Miller, throwing 104, hardest pitch in recorded, All-Star game history. And yeah, man, Jarren Duran, what a thing. What a thing. And I'll remember David Fry because
and before we get out,
that's something.
Before we take a break and talk about the Derby, quick shout out to Corbin Burns.
Oh, yes.
Had twin girls very recently. Congrats to him and his wife. It was unclear whether he was going to play in the game at all.
Yep.
He was announced as the starter. He was not here yesterday. He got a special dispensation to go be with his family.
Yeah.
Flies in this morning, throws the first inning of the game for the American League.
Says, peace.
No run scored. Goes in the clubhouse, showers, talks to the media for 3 minutes, right back to the airport on the plane, already home. Woke up at home this morning. He's going to go to sleep at home today. Just an all-time
and his twin
badass show-and-go move from Corbin Burns.
His twin girls, I guess, not really old enough to comprehend the television that they may be watching, but they got to just watch it, and he got to come home. I don't know where. I guess they're in Baltimore
Arizona.
Or in Arizona.
It's a long day.
Long day for him. The family got to hang out and watch. But shouts out to Corbin Burns, indeed. That is the All-Star Game. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back on Baseball Barbacast, recapping a less than super exciting home run derby, and then we will say goodbye because we got to go home.
And welcome back to Baseball Barbacast. Jake Mintz, Jordan Shusterman. It is Tuesday evening here in Arlington, Texas. That's how you pronounce that. I need a nap.
Yeah.
I need one of those naps where you fall asleep when it's late and then, or like when it's dark out, and then you wake up when it's light out. I need like one of those like 8 to 9 hour naps.
Oh. What was there another word for that?
Sleep. Let's talk about the home run derby, which happened.
Yes, we podcasted Monday morning in the studio. We previewed the home run derby. Mm-hmm. We were very excited about Bobby Witt Jr. Everyone should go read Jake's Bobby Witt Jr. feature.
Or Bobby Witt Jr.'s Jake feature.
Still waiting on that one. We'll see if he gets to work on that over the next couple of days before the second half starts.
Bobby, if you want to write a feature on me, just reach out. I'm down, dude.
Should he reach out to your dad? I know you got to talk to Senior. Should Bobby give Richard a call? See if he'll talk to you. Probably going to be harder to get to. Anyway, Bobby Witt Jr., good feature from Jake Mintz. You can go read that over on the website. But we were excited about Bobby Witt.
Yeah.
And I would say that Bobby Witt did his part. We don't have to recap the round-by-round sequence, but the point is that Bobby Witt Jr., he did his part. And, with some of the rule changes, everyone going in the first round, there were no brackets, and so it was just the top 4 finishers. And it was weird because they went in order of fewest home runs in the regular season to the most, which meant that the first batter was Alec Boehm, the doubles king, and the last batter was Gunnar Henderson. And because this was a very strange derby, Alec Boehm hits, I believe, the most home runs in the first round, or at least tied.
21.
With the first round. And then Gunnar Henderson, the last batter, finishes with the fewest.
At 11.
And Pete Alonso also did not advance to the second round. So already the vibes were kind of off in the first round.
Something was weird. I mean, it's probably worth just going through. Like, Alonso,
bad. All the pitchers. I would say this was the worst performance across the board from the pitchers.
And it has never mattered more because with the new rules, you are docked for every pitch, right? It's 40 pitches.
You only have 40 pitches.
Within a 3-minute span.
Yeah.
Whatever ends first, you're done. So if I'm pitching and I, just yeet one, that counts against you, right? And in the past, that wasn't the case because it was just,
just go,
Iron Mike,
go.
boom, boom,
right.
boom,
You
boom,
could
boom.
make up for your terrible pitches by giving them a bunch in a row.
So second round, though, is Jose Ramirez. He advances after just a barrage of beautiful wall scrapers. These were
God bless.
doubters.
Oh, but
I'm saying, there's no doubters.
Yes.
Ramirez was jacking doubters into the right field seats. They all count the same, kind of. Ramirez advanced, Boehm advanced, Witt advanced, and Teoscar Hernandez, the eventual champion, advanced. The most entertaining part from the second round was when Boehm kind of made a late charge to tie Teoscar.
And then ran out of gas.
And then, didn't really run out of gas. Like, he made a late charge to tie Teoscar.
Gets to a swing off.
He, has the bonus round.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's in the bonus round, and they're tied, and he has 3 outs to make.
Right.
And he just
right.
Just misses all 3. Go to the swing off. Teoscar misses the swing off.
Yes.
It was like he needed just one more home run.
And Boehm, because of the setup, had 90 minutes between rounds, which is about the longest layoff you could possibly have.
He could have gotten dinner.
Yeah,
he could have left the field, sat down at dinner, eaten, glass of wine, paid for it, signed the bill, come back.
Maybe he would have done better.
Baseball pants back on, warm up the swing, back in the derby. It was literally 90 minutes.
He still looked pretty good in round 2.
Yeah.
Not quite enough, as you mentioned. Teoscar wins the swing off, advances to the finals against Bobby Witt Jr., and now it is setting up, even though over the course of the night it had been dragging on a little too long, there were very few hot streaks that were kind of getting the crowd involved. Adolis Garcia wasn't great. The home crowd wasn't into that. Gunnar was disappointing. All these things. But it's setting up, and you're like, okay, Teoscar's going to go first, and then Bobby's going to go second. And if Teoscar can put up a good total and Bobby can come back and win it, this will be redeemed, and this will be a very memorable derby.
Teoscar, I believe, puts up 14. Bobby doesn't look great in the first half of the final round. Late charge, cuts it to 1. Last swing of the night. Crank, ball in the air, hurtling towards the wall. If it goes over, it ties at 14.
Yeah.
Giving him one more chance in the bonus round.
Yeah.
Right? The ball clangs off the wall. 13 home runs for Bobby, 14 for Teoscar. The crowd, the sold-out crowd here at Globe Life Field, lets out in unison a disappointing groan.
And then the fireworks.
The fireworks. Boom! That to me, no better way to explain what was the most underwhelming derby we've been to.
Yes.
Of the,
However, what a moment for Teoscar Hernandez.
Yeah.
A man who,
throw some shine on him.
yes, a man who in Seattle last year, his power was nowhere to be found. And he's talked about it like, I don't know, just couldn't do it, couldn't hit there. Join the club. But as soon as the Dodgers signed him, it's like, oh, this dude's going to be back to hitting 30 homers. There's no doubt. One of the most underrated power hitters of the last 5, 6, 7 years. And deserved to be here as an all-star. And he looked good.
Yep.
He hit, besides Ozuna, he had some of the farthest home runs of the night. I mean, I would say, we did a whole home run derby tour going around the ballpark, seeing, what interesting places would people hit any home runs. Didn't see a lot of that. We had some to the concourse there, very few to center field. Obviously, not a lot to left field or to right field because Gunnar was very disappointing. It's just not a lot of memorable moments. But it does, I will say, with that last moment, it sets up Witt well to kind of come back as a form of unfinished business narrative. Whether that's next year, whether that's at the Royals' new ballpark in 2030, I am looking forward to Bobby Witt Jr. one day competing in the home run derby once again.
So there are really only a handful of players who have the superstardom to carry a derby right now.
Sure.
And that's Judge, that's Ohtani, that's Soto. And I think that might be it. I'm not saying those are the best players in the world. I'm saying that from a fame perspective, people that outside viewers are going to tune in for.
Right.
Harper's like right there too.
Maybe if that Mike Trout fellow decides he doesn't have anything better to do, I would love to see that, and I think I maybe hope we will one day.
Mike Trout Derby is LeBron James dunk contest.
It has been for a long time, although now it's taken on a bit of a different tone.
Right. And
but yes.
Because of that, it was a strong field, in my opinion, for nerds like us.
Sure.
Who love all of these players and love watching them and were interested in the story.
Yeah.
But for a more casual fan, if it doesn't hold that heft, it's not going to hold attention.
Yeah.
And I thought that it dragged on for like an hour too long last night. And maybe that's the pace wasn't right. Maybe we just need to shorten it to 2 hours, shorten the number of pitches, have 4 players instead of 8. Like, there's a number of different ways. I think it does need some tweaking. As someone who really loves the Derby, I hope it kind of gets back. I don't think it's like a long-term problem. I think the Derbies all the derbies I've been at with you since 2016 have been spectacular events. Like, I've really enjoyed them. Last night, just the energy was just off. And
it was just down. We did not, both the crowd and really any of the players did not find a rhythm to kind of really get this place going.
And you could see, like, the players that are sitting on the sides leaving for, like, no one's left down there for the final.
Yeah.
And I understand that, like, a lot of them have kids. A lot of them have dinner reservations. Asking these guys to stay for 3 hours to sit there when they have the option not to do that during what's technically their vacation, like, that's a tough sell. I understand. In theory. However, it kind of it does take away from the dynamic when it's like, well, they're not going to watch?
Yes. And we've seen derbies in the past that have been so exciting that players want to stay, right? And so
this was not that.
This was not that, and that's not
that very simple test.
Yeah, and that's not. That could just be bad luck. We don't have to necessarily overreact to exactly who was in it or exactly the format and all those things. It might have just been a bad one, a clunker, right? We feel like we've been pretty fortunate. We've been on a pretty good run recently. So, but again, I still think it is in a pretty good place, and I think that we'll still be seeing some exciting players moving forward, especially because, remember, like, we're going to get another young player that is so obviously going to want to do it again in the same way that Gunnar and Bobby clearly became that this year. There's still a lot of talent coming, and I think we'll still have moments like that in the future.
Absolutely. Jordan?
I think that's it.
Let's go home.
Let's go home. Thank you to everybody here who allowed this week to be possible at Yahoo. Thank you to Wes and Dan, our producers here. They're incredible.
Dan Harris, Wes Varghese.
Yes, this has been an incredible experience for us. Our first All-Star with Yahoo. Shouts out to producer Andrew Hartz, also with us in the studio, the podcast. Russ Dorsey, of course, our main man, also on the Yahoo squad. It's been a great week. We are very tired. We are very fortunate to get to do this. We hope you enjoyed our All-Star coverage. All kinds of stuff that will help fuel our coverage for the rest of the season. So if you appreciate this. Leave a rating or review on the podcast. Let us know what you liked, what you would have different. We appreciate all the feedback. baseballbarbacast@gmail.com is the email. And we're going to go sleep for a couple days, and we'll be back on Friday to preview the second half.
Just one more thing. There was the moment in MLB Network did a intro hype package for the draft.
Oh, yeah.
That Bobby Witt Jr. kind of voiced over and talked about his memories of the draft.
Yeah.
And in that clip, there's a part where Bobby Witt Jr. goes, "Some days I can't believe this is my life. Can't believe this is my life."
Amen, Bob.
Amen, Bob. Amen, LeBron, smiling through it all. It's moments like this where Jordan and I really get to pinch ourselves, and we're very thankful to all the people who listen, who have listened, who don't listen anymore.
Yeah.
If you've stopped listening and you're not hearing this, shouts out to you too. That doesn't make any sense. I'm Jake Mintz. That's Jordan Shusterman.
I'm excited to watch baseball games that count, but not for a couple of days. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you guys on Friday.
Nap time, baby.